So the project that I'll be working on today is this unsightly tower that houses a lot of wires, and in the development where I live, each house has this in the middle between two houses in our yard. So I think that I'm going to cover it, and I will show you how. So I got this pallet off the side of the road, and I'm going to use this for that tower project. And I have to now take it apart. As you see, it has a lot of nails, so it's going to take me a while. So as soon as I'm done with that, I'll be back to show you what I'm going to do. So it's another hot and beastly day here in Florida, and I have finally now finished breaking up my pallets so that I could use these slots to make a little fence around this unsightly Comcast tower. I'm going to use this shape around the picket fence, and I'm going to use two boards next to each other, which will give me a nice comfortable sleeve to slide right over it. And I made it about 24 inches high, so I think that's the measurement that I'm going to use all the way around. So I've already measured out my pieces to 24 inches. And this is some pretty rough wood. I am going to do some sanding on it, but I'm not going to go crazy being it's for outside. And except for one piece, it's not pressure treated. I'm not sure how long we will get out of it, but I couldn't resist a free pallet. I'm finished with the straight cuts. You want to change your setting to 38 degrees for the top angle cuts. You can experiment with the angles to your own liking. I'm going to mark my plate with a line for an easy guide to cut all the boards. There we have it. All the angle cuts are complete. So these are the pieces that I have left over from cutting the original boards. Most of them are in pretty bad shape, but I'm going to try to salvage them to use as the pieces that I need for the inside. So let's see how much I can get out of here. I'm going to cut it in half, which is about 2 1/4 inches per side, and then that will get me one side of like a bracket for the inside. But I'm going to need a total of 8 altogether. So being this is an outside project, I'm not getting too crazy with the cuts, just because it's going to be outside and weathered, and like I said before, most of this isn't pressure treated wood, so I don't know how long it's going to last. Hopefully a couple of years with the polyurethane that I'm going to use. This one's got a pretty good split, so I'll only be able to salvage one side. Let's see, 2 1/2, I need 2. And we need a little bit of stability because this is smaller than the area that I have on my saw here. So I'm going to use this as a guide in the back. Okay. And I need one more. See if I can salvage it out of here. Oh, that's got a crack. Looks like I'm going to have to do it right in the middle. Clean that up. So here we go. All my pieces are cut, and I'm going to get started on the sanding. So like I said earlier, this pallet wood is really very rough, but I'm not going to go too crazy with the sanding. I'm just going to try to get some of the roughness out, being that it's an outside project. So I will do quickly both sides. I'm going to start with 80 grit on my sandpaper and then decide if I'm going to increase the sandpaper. Honestly, the 80 grit I think is really fine for my project, so I'm just going to go ahead and give them all a good sanding at the 80 grit, and then we'll move on to the next step. So normally I would put the piece together first before I stain it, but I'm going to do things a little bit differently because after I stain it, what I want to do is put a coat of polyurethane on the back or the inside and the sides before I put it together. So this way I know it's got a sealant on all four sides, and hopefully it'll last a little bit longer. I think I'm going to do some random and free-form flowers on the outside, so with acrylic paint, and then this way I could do the polyurethane at the end. But if the pieces are butt up together like this, I'm not going to be able to get the polyurethane on the sides, which is why I think I'll choose to do it this way for a change. So I'm going to be using this semi-transparent Minwax finish, and I believe this was called, I forgot, Gentle Olive. And I'm using the same color for another project, and I thought it would be a good color to use, being that it's an outside piece and it's going to look, you know, it is a fence. So I'm going to first do my back sides. I've already sanded everything with the 80 grit, and I'm not going to do any more. And I'm going to use my trusty little sponges that I like to use, and I'm just gonna, it's a pretty neat color. So you can still see the grain in between. And like I said, I'm going to do the sides as well. This way I feel like at least it has a chance with all the finish on it. Okay, we'll keep moving along. So I have all the insides and the sides of my little fence stained. I'm going to give it a chance to dry, and then I'm going to flip them over and then stain the front side, and then we can move on to the next step. I'm using the Rust-Oleum Spar polyurethane. It's a little more for outside, And this project is not going to be covered, so it will be exposed to all the elements. And the reason I'm going to do a quick coat on this is because I want to make sure that there gets some polyurethane in here before I start putting them together and feel like they've just been protected. So I'm only going to do the backs and the sides, and then once that dries, I'm going to start to assemble the little fence. Now this will change the color slightly because it does have an amber coloring to it, but that's okay. Or just make it look more like a golden green instead of the green that it was. So as you can see, it has changed the color somewhat, but I'm fine with it. So don't want to overbrush. I'm gonna get the sides. Whoop, bugs. Very buggy tonight. I'm gonna hit up here on the top too. So that's one down and 7 more to go. Instead of a couple of flowers here and there, I ended up with a small garden. Got a little carried away, and now it's very colorful. So if you plan to do this on your project, I use regular craft acrylic paints, and right on top of what I had already stained, and I just let it sit a week so that it really cured and dried before I was going to put the polyurethane on there. I went ahead and did some of my bracing already. So what I did was I put these here, and then I put the side braces, and I've already done this one here. So we're going to go ahead and put these together, and so it'll look just like this. And it's going to be hard for you to see, but I'm going to take this area here and I'm going to pre-drill 2 holes, and then I'll be screwing these in. So I'm going to go ahead and do that now. I'm going to see if we can do this a little bit better so you can see. Maybe if I do the bottom one. Well, I'm going to try to put it where I think is closest to the middle of this bracket here, and then I'll put it here. And then you want to go ahead and countersink your screws so they don't stick out, your screw heads. No. We'll just do this one up here, and this part's done. Okay, so the reason why I did this construction this way is because I wanted to be able to put the panels on the front without having any screw heads visible from the outside. So this way I could just put the panels here and drill from the inside, and you're free and clear of any screw holes. Okay, now that I've pre-drilled my holes on all 4 of the cross pieces, I'm going to start to assemble the last of the panels. And after a little bit of trial and error, I think I'm going to lay it down. This way I can get some leverage and it'll pull real tight. Here we go. Okay, so here we are. We've got all 3 sides, and we're going to work on the last. This is going to be a little trickier to put together. Okay, so that's what it looks like on the inside. This is what it looks like on the outside. And starting to look quite good. So I'm excited. Like I said, it's a garden. I can't tell you how excited I am that my vision finally has come to fruition. My box is almost done. I'm very excited to put it where it needs to be. And now that it's all together, we're going to start giving it polyurethane, both inside and outside. I haven't decided how many coats, but at least 3 or 4, knowing that it's going to be open to the elements. And I'm going to get started. You want to put a good amount on your brush, being that this is a very porous wood, and you want to make sure that you can get into the nooks and crannies of this wood. It's a little bit different than working with wood that's really smooth and inside furniture. So you want to put it on liberally, but not where you're going to get any runs. So as you can see, you can polyurethane right over the acrylic paint with no problem. And I'm just going to keep going until we get it all finished, and I'll be back. I am jumping for joy that this project is finally finished. I ended up doing 4 coats of the polyurethane, hoping that that'll be enough for the Florida weather, especially with the hot summers and the rain that we have. And I cannot wait to put it on this ugly tower that I never have to see again. So basically this is all that I'm doing, and voila, you can't see it anymore. I just have one dilemma, and maybe you guys can help me figure it out. Which side should I use to face my house? This side? This side? This side? Or maybe this side? Please leave me your choice in the comments. Thank you for sharing the afternoon with me on another project for Baking to Building. If you like this video, Please hit the subscribe button, and until my next project, bye.